Hello, this tune's called Estrellas and it's by Stephane Delicq, a very nice melodeon player, French melodeon player who recently died, I think a couple of years ago, but I've only just discovered Delicq's music. It's very nice and simple, but with good choice of chords, which is why I'm liking a lot of French melodeon players at the moment. Let's start with the right hand. I've chosen a low sound on this one rather than the sound I normally play with is quite a swing tuned musette. I've gone for the extra octave on this one just to try and emulate the deep AD melodeons that the French players seem to use. So it starts with lots of repeated notes, and the repeated notes start with R, C and E. And there's an E to start with, an E pickup. So it switches between the low E and the pairs of notes. So that all moves in thirds, and there are either repeated notes or notes next door to each other. Once more slowly. To land on, make sure I'm on 5 and 3 fingers for the D and the F. That way you can play traditional sort of piano fingering for the thirds. And then that plays again, but down a note, still with the E at the bass, but we go up to a D and a B here. And again, instead of switching fingers, I like to hop to the C and E. So I can get into the right shape to get up to the D and F. So the whole of that first section again. Some of that plays again. And there's 2 rests, 1, 2. And then we play that slower and 1 note down. So everything apart from the low stab is always in thirds, and they always move up or down 1 note, so that should be relatively easy to work out. The second tune, I want to go back to a high sound, so I'm going to leap up instead of playing it down here. It's in 6ths instead of thirds, but we play it at the top, C and E to start with. And again, most of this moves by step, this first bit. Once more. There are huge choice of fingerings for that. What a piano player would probably do is switch so that so I might do 5, little finger on C, and then 4 on the B, but put the 5th back on. That little switch where you take over the note that's already playing is really good for playing smoothly. Then we go back to thirds, fingering I use for this, because this is quite it's very easy really if you get the fingering right. So it's 5 and 3 on E and G, 4 and 2, 3 and 1, 1 and 2, and then that walks around on itself. So the whole of that third section. Back up to the C and D, but we have the repeated version of that. And now we modulate. So we keep that G and B, and we change the G to a G sharp, up to C and E. So it's a relatively straightforward piece to learn. I'll just play the whole of that second section for you, slowly. Just one little trick on switching between the thirds and the sixths. The upper note stays the same, so when we get to that G is going to stay there for the thirds, so that should help you locate. You just move from the sixths up to the third, but the G doesn't move. Now here, that E that you're playing at the top of the thirds becomes the lower note of the sixths. So that should help you switch between those two passages. So that's the right hand. I'll zoom in for the left hand. Again, it's really quite straightforward. 2 bars of A minor. So find your E button. There's your A bass, and the minor O is 2 back along the same diagonals. I'm sure you know this by now. So A minor, 2 bars. I wouldn't change bellows there, I'm just trying to keep it in the picture. And again, it's the A bass and then the E bass, but it's still the A minor chord. That's tonic and dominant, or root and fifth. There's loads of different names for them, or first and fifth of the scale. But that papa, that whole effect is done by switching the bass notes from the first of the scale to the fifth of the scale. So 2 bars of A minor. 1 bar of D minor, which is 1 note down, and then we go up to E major, and there are going to be 4 bars of E major. First one finishes off the phrase, and then I again start on the root for the next 4-bar phrase. That's the same E, and because I've got so many different so many versions of the E chord, so many bars of it, I'm changing the bass note. 3 bars of E major coming up, and I'm going to have those as the bass notes, so it's going to be E, G sharp, B, and then back to A minor. So here it is, the 3 bars of E. And that finishes off our A minor. So from the beginning, 2 bars of A minor, to the fifth, D minor, E major, E major again, root, E major with a third, E major over B, and then to A minor. And the reason I have that walking bass line is, apart from the fact that it is much more interesting than just having the root, is that the right hand has an E and a C against one of those notes. So the first note, that's against the bass note, next bar, but the next note against the B is really clashy, which I like. So when you have a string of chords, it's good to vary the bass note, especially when you know there's an opportunity for a crunchy chord coming up. So that's the first 8 bars of that first section. Then we carry on with A minor again, down to D minor, E major. Now we've got D minor again, but it's on its own. So I like to do a loud stab, stab, because there's nothing happening in the right hand then. And then back to E, and another E. You can either play another bass note, or G sharp. So the chords are straightforward. You just have an option at the end. Of switching from the E to the 5th, or to a G sharp, or from an E to another E, but then throw in a G sharp. So just give a little punch at the turnaround, at the cadence points. It's quite nice to have that extra 3-1 on there. But other than that, to start learning this piece, the chords are only A minor, D minor, and E. So you could play them all in standard position, if you like. The second section, which is really what makes this piece, starts on D minor. Well, actually, the right hand is C and E. And if I were to harmonise that one chord differently, so I would start it on A minor, there's nothing interesting about that. It's nice, but there's no bite in it. But so that those chords were starting on A minor. So start A minor, D, G. So there's no bite there at all. But what Stephane and Delicq does is, instead of starting on an A minor chord, he starts on a D minor chord, which means that every bar's got crunch to it. So this is the D minor sound. That's nice already, isn't it? Then this is the G, and this is the C chord. So because he's moved those chords down from, this is the A minor version, which we're not doing. That's A minor, and this is the D minor version. Let me get it back to you. This is the D minor version. So much better. So little things like that make a piece. So here we are, D minor, G, C, C with the alternate bass, up to E, another E, you play it with a G sharp, and then A minor. The reason I've got 2 root chords at the end is that's the cadence point. And then back to D minor, G, C, C, up to E, and here you can play your E in the root position, or you can play root position, throw in a G sharp, and then to A minor. So again, the chords for this section are D minor, G, C. So we've gone to the relative major. Then we go straight to E major, A minor, and then again the D minor, G, C, E major. 2 bars, A minor. Very straightforward, lovely tune. I hope that's some use.